Well, hello again, Van Buren team. I would have thought that by now the weather would be cooperating a little bit more, but it's still pretty chilly and rainy outside. So uh, gotta get uh, some of this outdoors air, and I figure it'd be a good time to catch up with you. So. Um, Again, the operation continues as we've structured with the backup to your field work and your remote work in the office, and we're pleased with so far how the support has been working. Hopefully, you've been able to get what you need. We did receive some pretty unexpected news today, I guess, in the way that it came. But the announcement of layoffs first this morning through the email from the director, and then certainly we heard it again at the press conference. So it's still premature as to know the number of folks that would be affected in our county. We hope it will be minimal. We did seek some volunteers to see if there would be people interested in taking this voluntarily, and there were 4 of you that expressed interest, so we passed that along. But we don't know what the final decision is going to be, so I ask you to hang in there while we traverse this. This is again a temporary 10-day layoff. Please keep in mind, the support that you've heard from the peer support team in our county, and there was a really cool website connection that was shared earlier this week about guided mindfulness and meditation. Those are, good strategies to be able to use, when you're working and maybe you need to decompress a little bit. So certainly something you can do inside these days, given the bad weather we're getting. So in public assistance, our assistance payments, I just want to remind you again, earlier this week, I sent out some important reminders about documentation, and I ask that you please, take that to heart. And as you process cases, especially with the new and relaxed verification requirements, that you are diligent in documenting right away how you arrived at the eligibility decision, and that anybody that can pick up that case after you can clearly see how you made your decision. So please keep that present. We do know that effective 4/26 coming up here, FAP applications submitted via My Bridges will now be auto-registered, so that would be one less step and will alleviate some of the workload associated with that. And I sent an email, I believe, earlier this week, perhaps late last week, about the FIS ES survey. And that deadline to complete the survey has again been extended to May 15. So please make some time to take the 5 minutes and complete the survey. It's very important. For Children's Services, this week we've started busily looking at the rapid reunification review. We had 37 children that made our list, but frankly, out of those, 17 had already been reunified, returned home, and 3 additional children were transitioned to living with the other parent, the non-respondent parent. So in the end, we were able to submit the name for 1 more child that could possibly be reunified in the next 30 days, and maybe 3 more in the next 45 to 60 days. So super important to realize that since we started looking at this early, since COVID-19, we had already returned home 5 children. So I believe we were ahead of the game on this. This is an important initiative, and again, we're simply doing the review to then make recommendations, as ultimately the court has to support the reunification. Please, if you reviewed any of your cases, make sure you upload the case review tool that you completed So that is in my SACWAS and there as a record that you completed this review. Later yet this week, we learned of another effort. This is in the CPS area. This is entitled CPS Outreach Initiative, and we will undertake identified Category 3 open close and Category 4 CPS cases for the last 3 months and see how we can reach out to those families and do some prevention work, some family preservation, make sure that we share resources with those families. And we're going to be getting into that probably early next week. We will be provided with a list of those cases, and we'll endeavor to do an extra outreach for those families which we know may be at high risk to come to our attention again. So I hope that you are staying healthy, staying well. I got a chance to speak to some of you directly the last couple of days. Had a few minutes in between conference calls, and it was great to hear your voice, or to be able to leave you a message. And from some of you, we got to video conference, so that was really cool too. So indulge me, if you would, in just a few moments of today's reflection. And we come to do this work that we do, and oftentimes we are so focused and so lasered, trained on the what of the work and the metrics that we have to meet, and so forth. But I think it's a critical time to again remind ourselves and rethink the why we do the work. And perhaps today more than ever, I find that it helps me when I define my job in terms of the values and the purpose of that job brings to me. And so I ask, if you got to write your own ideal job description, or what would that description look like for the job you want today, or in a year, or in 5? And I very much doubt that you will put in that description, computer work, payment processes, checklists, unending menial tasks. I think if we were to be given free rein to write our job description, we'll write it in terms of what's important, why we do the work, our desire to help other people, be advocates on behalf of the poor, the oppressed, the disenfranchised, to be the voice for those who cannot speak, and to protect those who are vulnerable. The value of our work truly, truly comes from putting others first. And I think for me, that would be at the top of my job description. And I hope that you can keep that at the top of yours. The one thing that is also a bonus is we get to do this awesome work in the company of other like-minded individuals. So to me, I just consider that the cherry on top. So allow me to share a story I read earlier this week. And this story is about a cafeteria worker that worked in a university. Her name was Ernestine Jackson, and she worked in the cafeteria of this small college for many, many years. And her job title was food server, but she called her job the mission to serve souls. And to so many thousands of students over the years, she was a surrogate mother. She was a counselor, a mentor, a friend, and many, many students who crossed her way were positively affected by the interactions. Her mission and work was so impactful that in 2003, the Virginia Senate authorized a joint resolution celebrating the life of Ernestine Jackson. What a great and awesome difference she made. She did not allow the routine of her work to get in the way of her mission. She put values first and did not let anything deviate from what her mission was going to be: to uplift others, to be a mentor, to strengthen those who cross her path. And I hope, it's my sincere hope, that we can proudly make our work the embodiment of a mission that can be as big as changing the world, one family, one child, one community at a time. I know I'm in great company when it comes to that mission. So I hope you'll embrace it now more than ever. Take care.